Hands. I am, by God, I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man, where sleeping bears lie on the sand. Manitou has placed his hands. I am a Michigan man.
Bob Bauer's Outdoor World, and we're live at the Sterling Inn. And we're here for Safari Club International's Detroit chapter fundraiser. And we get a chance to talk to a lot of different people here. We just talked to Doug Koch from South Africa. We're getting ready to talk to a young lady about hunting in Serbia. Right now we're going to bring it back home here to the United States and Michigan. And we're here to talk to a good friend of the show, Dan Potter, from the National Wild Turkey Federation. And Dan's based here in Michigan. We were having a conversation earlier when I first got here about what the National Wild Turkey Federation is about, and it's about helping turkeys, right?
Exactly. And right now, here in Michigan and on a national basis, turkeys are down. And in Michigan, we're hearing a lot of people, complaining about the fact what's happened. We had these great years where the numbers were up, people were just seeing them all over, and people were harvesting turkeys, and now people are starting to say, well, wait a minute, what happened? Why are these turkeys disappearing? And I don't think there's a definitive answer yet, but there are a number of things that I think have contributed to it, and some experts are starting to look at it. On a national basis, there are experts, biologists and so forth, that are looking at the question. And as I said earlier, it's not just here in Michigan. New York is down, Missouri is down, Pennsylvania. A lot of states are down in numbers. And there's some thought that there are some diseases that are affecting these numbers, but the disappearance of habitat is contributing to that.
Okay.
Of course, the winters.
That's been a problem for years.
Yes, but in the winters, obviously, here in Michigan, we've had several bad winters. That contributes to it too. But the National Wild Turkey Federation is working with 5 or 6 different conservation organizations to do a number of things, and they've quoted a saying, preserve the habitat, preserve the hunt.
Right.
And we've got to be doing that kind of thing, reaching out and trying to preserve the habitat. Let's look around us. You see the industry expanding, you see suburbia spreading out, and we're losing tons of good hunting lands to these kind of developments, and that's created part of the problem. And so we've got to start looking at that, and these conservation organizations are trying to do that to help preserve the habitat. If it's not preserve it from being developed, it's developing the habitat that will retain those animals by doing planting and creating feed plots and those kind of things.
What kinds of things are you going to plant to retrain them turkeys?
Well, there are a number of things that we have. The Turkey Federation has a conservation seed program, and we have a number of seed. Corn, there's what we call our Michigan mix, which is a combination of a number of different mixes and so forth. And if anybody's interested in that kind of thing, they should contact anybody in the National Wild Turkey Federation. Local chapters, there are some 90 chapters here in Michigan. So if you live in an area, if you just look on the computer, you'll probably be able to find it. If they don't find it that way, have them contact me. I'm here in Oakland County, and I can give you my phone number. My phone number is 248-548-2036. Contact me, and I'll put them in contact with somebody that can help them.
Isn't it quite possible we've had a rise in the number of predators, especially the coyote? You think that has anything to do with it too?
Yes, I'm sure it does, Bob. There are people that dispute that, but predators are predators, and if they can get to nests, I mean, it's not just coyotes, but you've got raccoons and other things that get to turkeys' nests. The fox. The nests are on the ground, the eggs are there, and they're getting into those. And is that a major factor? I'm not sure it's a major factor, but all these things are contributing. Weather, predators, the disappearance of habitat, all those things. And the other thing, Bob, and you and I talked about this earlier, is we're down in hunters. And not just turkey hunters, we're down across the board in the number of people that are hunting. Why is that important to me as a hunter? Our fees generate the dollars for the Department of Natural Resources in this state and all the other states in the union. Because every time we buy a license, a part of that money comes back to the state agency that supports conservation in that state and our hunting. And when we lose hunters, we're hurting ourselves. The dollars aren't coming back into the local departments. And so not only do we need to do some work on habitat and that kind of thing, we need to start encouraging other people to get involved in hunting and buying licenses.
I think that's the importance of a lot of these clubs, is to reach out to the public and say, look, this is your heritage. It's passed down from your grandparents and your great-grandparents and your great-great-grandparents, because let's face it, you start going back that far, and those folks were hunting for their food, and they were growing their own food.
That's right.
And it is, I mean, we have a huge hunting heritage here in Michigan. And
but you see what's happened now. Young people today have got so many other things to be involved, distractions. The adults aren't doing, as you say, that goes back heritage-wise, but a lot of adults today have had no exposure to hunting and fishing and the outdoors. And so they aren't in a position to say to their sons or daughters, hey, come on, I'm going to take you hunting.
Right.
And so we who are involved in that have got to be able to reach out. And as you say, the clubs like the Safari Club and National Wild Turkey Federation, Bucks Unlimited, Ducks Unlimited, we've got to reach out and provide opportunities for young people and adults. Sometimes we talk too much about the young people. What about the adult, the dad who says, hey, my dad never took me out. I'd love to start my son, but I don't know where to start.
Right, go to a club.
Come on to the clubs. We're looking for people that we can help get started in some kind of outdoor activity. And that will help us get the numbers back up. And so it's not just the youth. We've got to start looking at adults. And there are a lot of adults. I don't know, I bump into people all the time who say, boy, I'd love to get my son out or daughter out to hunt or fish, but I don't have that background. Well, come on, join us. Come on, we'll get you involved.
Yep.
And so I would encourage anybody that has an interest in wanting to get started for their own benefit or for the benefit of their family, come on, contact one of the clubs. And I would encourage people that are involved in the clubs, hey, talk to your neighbors, talk to your relatives, get them involved in some part of it. Not everybody wants to go out and shoot something. They may want to help conserve what we've all loved and get them involved.
Absolutely. Well, you know, there's a lot of people, if you ask them, are you into conservation? They'll say, well, certainly I'm into conservation.
Exactly.
And if you ask them, what have you done? Well, I haven't done anything. Why not? Well, I don't know what to do.
There's the answer. That's right.
But it's at all these clubs.
Yeah.
National Wild Turkey Federation.
Exactly.
Ducks Unlimited.
Right, all of those.
Whitetails.
You know, the other thing that I'd be remiss if I didn't point out, all these anti-groups that are anti-guns, anti-hunting, and I don't need to name them. We hear enough. We see the ads on television, help support us and so forth. What have they spent to help conservation and help what we're trying to preserve in the wild? Nothing. They have not spent. They're spending all their money to try to combat the hunting and fishing interests and so forth. They haven't spent any money to create food plots or try to help preserve or get people involved in training them correctly in the conservation and so forth. These clubs are doing it, the Turkey Federation, the Safari Club, but you know, we all need more help in that area.
Right.
And we've got to be prepared, because those antis are spending millions of dollars to try to defeat what we love and we've got to get ourselves organized to combat that also.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Potter, National Wild Turkey Federation. Google it, National Wild Turkey Federation, and it'll get you all the information you need. And you don't have to go out and shoot a turkey, but you go out and plant some habitat. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it, man.
Bob, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.